Have you ever wondered why some men earn deep respect while others are ignored? Many men dream about success, but only a few actually build the habits needed to reach it. The truth is simple. A high-value man is not born, he is created over time. He is shaped through discipline, through challenges, and through strong self-control. Success is not luck or magic. It is the result of daily actions, repeated again and again. The world does not reward weak habits or careless behavior. It rewards strong character and consistency. A high-value man does not waste time chasing attention or approval. Instead, he focuses on improving himself. He manages his emotions, uses his time wisely, and controls his thoughts, while others spend years complaining and making excuses. He grows in silence. That is why people respect him, not because he talks big, but because his actions are different. Now ask yourself honestly, who are you becoming each day? Because every habit you follow is shaping your future. Every choice you make is building your personality. Every single day is either making you stronger or slowly making you weaker. The moment a man decides to take control of himself, his life starts to change. A high-value man is not defined only by money, status, or looks. He is defined by his discipline, his mindset, and his self-control. And this is where everything begins. Many men want success, but very few are willing to become the kind of person success requires. Listen closely. Every man has potential, but potential means nothing without action. It must be trained and developed like a muscle. In the beginning, it is weak, unfocused, and easily distracted. But with consistent effort, it becomes stronger over time. That is how a high-value man is built. Not in one big moment, but through hundreds of small daily choices. Waking up when you said you would, working even when you do not feel like it, staying focused when distractions try to pull you away. These may seem like small actions, but they build a powerful identity. Here is something important to understand. Most men do not fail because life is difficult. They fail because they are inconsistent. They start with energy, then lose focus, then quit. Slowly, their confidence breaks, their discipline weakens, and they lose direction. Small habits, repeated every day, lead to big results. That is the real secret. A high-value man understands this clearly. He does not depend on motivation because motivation does not last. He relies on systems, routines, and habits. Discipline stays even when motivation disappears. Now picture two men. One waits to feel motivated. The other builds discipline. One wastes time scrolling and avoiding effort. The other is building his future. Step by step. One reacts to whatever happens. The other takes control and creates his own path. That is the difference. Understand this deeply. A high-value man is not perfect. He makes mistakes like everyone else, but he does not stay down. He learns from his failures, adjusts his actions, and keeps improving. Every failure becomes feedback. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes training. This mindset separates him from the average man. Average men run away from discomfort. High-value men face it. They choose growth instead of comfort, discipline instead of pleasure, and purpose instead of distraction. Slowly, their lives begin to change. Their confidence grows. Their respect increases. Their inner strength becomes stronger. Not because the world changed, but because they changed themselves. Now ask yourself, what are your daily habits creating? Are they building strength or weakness? Discipline or distraction? Because your life is not shaped by big events. It is shaped by small, everyday actions. How you start your morning, how you respond to problems, how you handle your responsibilities. This is where your identity is formed. Work harder on yourself than on anything else. This is the foundation of becoming a high-value man. He understands that self-improvement is not optional, it is necessary. Without growth, a man becomes stuck, weak, and lost. But with growth, he becomes focused, strong, and unshakable. Real value is not what you show to others. It is who you become when no one is watching. A high-value man is built quietly through discipline, consistency, and self-mastery. Now think about this. A goal without a deadline is only a wish. Many men have big dreams, clear dreams, but very few set deadlines. Without deadlines, nothing moves forward. Nothing changes. Nothing pushes you to act. High-value man does not just think about what he wants. He decides when he will achieve it. Because time gives structure to discipline, and structure leads to results. Here is something important. When you delay things again and again, you train your mind to keep delaying. This habit slowly kills ambition. You tell yourself, I will start tomorrow, or I will do it next week. But tomorrow turns into next month, and next month turns into next year. Before you realize it, years have passed, and nothing has changed. Without urgency, even the best plans fail quietly. That is why deadlines matter. Deadlines create pressure, and pressure creates action. Now imagine two men again. One says, I will improve my life someday. The other says, I will change my life within the next 30 days. One stays comfortable. The other moves with purpose. One delays. The other takes action. That is the difference between average and high value. A high-value man respects time deeply. Not just his own time, but life itself. He knows time is his most valuable resource, and once it is gone, it never comes back. So he takes his goals seriously. He sets clear deadlines and sticks to them. Even when he feels lazy, even when motivation disappears, even when distractions appear, he keeps moving forward because his commitment is real. Now think about your own life. How many things are still incomplete because you never set a deadline? Goals without deadlines turn into excuses. Dreams without deadlines become fantasies. Plans without deadlines become delays. And delays slowly destroy confidence. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your self-trust. But when you start completing things, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself again. You start believing in your discipline. You start respecting your own word. This is where a high-value man begins. Self-respect grows when you keep promises to yourself. Deadlines are not pressure from outside. They are commitment from within. They are a personal standard, a rule you choose not to break. When you live like this, your life becomes focused and organized. You stop drifting aimlessly. You stop reacting. You start leading your life. Now imagine your life 1 year from now. If every goal had a clear deadline, if every action had urgency, if every day had purpose, your life would look completely different. It would be stronger, clearer, and more disciplined. This is how high-value men are built. Not through wishes, but through action. Not through hope, but through execution. A high-value man does not wait for time. He controls it with discipline and deadlines. Now understand this. Small thinking leads to small results. Many men do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they think too small. They set low goals, settle too early, and expect very little from themselves. Slowly, their life becomes a reflection of that mindset. A high-value man thinks different. He does not limit himself. He thinks in terms of growth, opportunity, and expansion. Because your thinking sets the limit for your life. If you think small, your life stays small. If you think average, you become average. But when you begin to think bigger, everything starts to change. Your actions improve, your discipline increases, your expectations rise. Thinking big is not about ego or showing off. It is about having a vision. A high-value man sees beyond his current situation. He does not let his present define his future. Your life grows based on how you think. Imagine two men again. One thinks, I just want to survive. The other thinks, I want to build something meaningful. One stays safe. The other grows. One avoids responsibility. The other takes charge of his future. That is the difference. Big thinking requires courage. Because when you think bigger, you must also act bigger. And that means more responsibility, more discipline, and more consistency. Many men avoid thinking big because it forces them to face their weaknesses. It shows them where they lack discipline. It demands change. But a high-value man accepts this challenge. He understands one thing clearly. If he wants more from life, he must become more. To change your life, you must first change how you think. Thinking big is not about dreaming without action. It is about raising your standards, higher standards for your time, your habits, and your behavior. Because your standards shape your identity, and your identity shapes your results. Now ask yourself, what do you expect from your life? Are you thinking small, or are you pushing yourself to grow? Most people stay stuck not because life is unfair, but because their thinking never changes. They repeat the same habits, the same routines, and expect different results. But a high-value man breaks that cycle. He challenges his thoughts. He expands his vision. He refuses to stay mentally limited. Big thinking will stretch you. It will make you uncomfortable. It will push you beyond who you are right now. But that is exactly where growth happens. Do not shrink your vision to match your current situation. Expand your vision to match your true potential. A high-value man is not defined by where he stands today. He is defined by how far he is willing to think and grow. Because the moment you start thinking bigger, you start becoming better. And that is where real change begins. Self-respect is the foundation of a high-value man. Think about that. A man can lose money and build it back. He can lose chances and find new ones. He can even lose time and still recover. But when a man loses respect for himself, he loses everything. Now listen carefully. A high-value man protects one thing above all else: his character, his integrity, and his word. Self-respect is not handed to you. It is earned day by day through choices, small choices, quiet choices, private choices. What you do when no one is watching decides your value when people are watching. That is the truth many people miss. Now let me ask you something. Do you keep promises to yourself, or do you break them easily? Because every broken promise weakens self-respect. Every excuse, every delay, every shortcut adds up. Slowly and silently, it lowers your standards. And when standards go down, confidence goes down too. Discipline goes down too. Direction goes down too. Understand this deeply. A high-value man does not bargain with his standards. He does not say, just this once, or I'll start tomorrow. He knows every compromise has a cost. A man without standards becomes ruled by his situation. Think about this. When you respect yourself, you act differently. You choose discipline over comfort, honesty over shortcuts, and responsibility over excuses. Not because someone else is watching, but because you are watching yourself. That is maturity. The world will always test your standards. People will try to pull you down. Situations will push you to break them. Comfort will try to weaken them. But a high-value man stays firm. He understands, if I lose my standards, I lose myself. And once a man loses himself, nothing else can fill that empty space. Now listen carefully. Self-respect is built in silence. No applause, no crowd, no approval, just discipline, just consistency, just honesty with yourself. Respect yourself enough to walk away from anything that destroys your standards. That is real power. Imagine a man who deeply respects himself. He wakes up with purpose. He works with discipline. He speaks with integrity. He moves with confidence, not because he is perfect, but because he is steady. And people notice that. They may not fully understand him, but they respect him, because self-respect always shows. Now, let me ask you one final question. What are you willing to allow in your life? Because whatever you allow, you slowly become. A high-value man allows nothing that lowers his standards. Not laziness, not excuses, not self-betrayal. He chooses discipline. He chooses growth. He chooses respect. And that is why he rises. A high-value man is not made by the world. He is made by the standards he refuses to break. Money is a tool, not a master. Think about that. A high-value man understands money well, but he does not worship it. He respects it, learns from it, uses it wisely, but never lets it control his character. Now listen carefully. There is a big difference between loving money and being controlled by money. One brings freedom, the other brings slavery. A weak man chases money blindly. He thinks money will solve everything. But while chasing it, he loses discipline. He loses values. He loses himself. And that is too high a price. If you are not careful, you will trade your character for comfort. A high-value man is different. He respects money in a healthy way, not with emotion, not with desperation, not with greed, but with wisdom. He understands that money is a result of value, a result of discipline, a result of service. So he focuses on becoming valuable first, because money follows value, not the other way around. Think about this. When a man respects money, he learns how to handle it, grow it, and multiply it. But when a man worships money, he becomes impatient. He becomes emotional. He makes bad choices, and slowly, he loses control. Now listen carefully. A high-value man is never desperate for money because desperation ruins good judgment. He stays calm. He stays focused. He stays patient. He knows money will come if he becomes valuable enough. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That is the real plan. Not chasing money, but building yourself into someone money naturally follows. Understand this deeply. Money is not evil. Money is not the enemy. Money simply grows the person you already are. If you are disciplined, money will strengthen that discipline. If you are careless, money will increase your carelessness. So the real question is not, how do I get money? The real question is, who am I becoming while I chase money? That is the difference. A high-value man loves money the right way. He sees it as responsibility, not identity. He knows money can bring comfort, but it cannot build character. Money can bring freedom, but it cannot give discipline. Those things must come from inside. Now let me leave you with this. Earn money, respect money, grow money, but never let money decide your worth, because your true value is not in your wallet. It is in your habits, your discipline, your standards, and your character. A high-value man does not chase money. He becomes the kind of man money respects.
For things to change, you have to change. So start today. Raise your standards. Control your habits. Respect your time. Build your character. And slowly, you will become the man you were meant to be.
Stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep becoming a high-value man.